Hi folks, welcome to your Gersnet immediate post-match reaction pod, coming to you in association with Forest Precision Engineering. My name's Alec Anderson and I'm speaking to you from outside the home of the 2023-2024 Scottish League Cup winners after the 2023-2024 Scottish League Cup winners beat St Johnstone by 2-0 in the SPFL Premiership tonight. The winning goal, the second and decisive goal of the game, scored by the man who scored the only goal of the 2023-2024 Scottish League Cup final. Alright, that's getting a bit much, a bit immature. Time to stop talking about Scotland's third most important trophy, Alec. The winning goal tonight, the second goal tonight, was scored by the captain of the 2023-2024 Europa League Group C winners, Mr James Tavernier, putting Rangers to within 2 points of Celtic at the top of the table with a game in hand. Now we've still got the kind of ever unpredictable trip to Fir Park on Christmas Eve, and then we've got Derek Adams, Scottish football hating Ross County, coming to Ibrox the day after Boxing Day. But yeah, we're in a fantastic position, and I'm starting to get a bit lightheaded. Everything in the garden is just too rosy. I've got to stop saying that. Why do I keep using that phrase? It's really unimaginative. But I think I'm just enjoying the fact that I can use it these days. I mean, last Thursday before kick-off in Seville, if you're following our preview pods, I was in the depths of despair about the selection problems our manager was facing, the number of players who are constantly pulling out injured or for private reasons in Todd Cantwell's case, and I was more excited about Tommy Taylor, the new performance coach from Brighton and Hove Albion, coming in because we could almost write off the Europa League. We're definitely dropping into the Conference League, and the League Cup final was in real doubt yet again. There was a real chance we were going to make a fool of ourselves in the Scottish League Cup and fail to win that trophy that we hadn't won since 2011. And now tonight I'm sitting here and I'm just waiting for there'll be some sort of narrative, I think, coming from Parkhead. Suddenly I need to maybe perhaps move the winter break forward to perhaps 5 minutes from now, or there'll be a conspiracy, there'll be Masons involved somewhere, some sort of moral thing, obviously, that you can boil down into a meme that's readily retweeted. And I say this about Peter Lawwell. I don't say this about all Celtic fans. I'm saying this about Peter Lawwell because I think it would be remiss of us to point out, to ignore that this is what's happened over the last 20 odd years. Any time Rangers have looked like they might be mounting a title challenge, far less beginning to look like title favourites, as we must be just now. That's one of the two games in hand. The other one's not until after the upcoming winter break. But my God, we're looking absolutely fantastic, sitting on Celtic's back wheel. Talking of wheels, I'm actually at a stage where, do you know that the Lloyds, outside the Lloyds Bank with the bus stop outside at Annie's Land Cross? Aye, so I usually go along that way to drop onto the dual carriageway in Crow Road, take it through the Clyde Tunnel where I'm coming to the game. And you know how you go along there on the left hand side at that, but there's always a bus sitting there and you can't get in, so you got to go out in the right hand. No, just because the wee taxi rank as well, just by Gennaro's, a chip shop. And you got to go in the outside lane, then drop back into the inside lane. You know, sometimes the bus is pulling out as you try to cut back in. It's a pain in the neck. So the night I was delighted when I went past there and the bus wasn't sitting. There was no bus parked there at all. And I thought, everything is going my way, until I went down a pothole the size of the Grand Canyon. I thought the whole undercarriage of the motor had come out, never mind the tyre getting flattened. And the boy behind me did exactly the same. Just bounced back out this thing. He did the same. He immediately pulled into his left, got out and checked his tyres, checked the front of his motor, see if everything was all right. I just carried on. Shock mostly, and I saw there was nothing in the dash. There was no lights coming on the dash, and there was, the traffic was taking its time going through the old Clyde Tunnel, so I had plenty of time to kind of test it out, open the windows and that while I was driving along. Couldn't hear any bad sounds, the car felt fine. But when I parked up the night, I had a wee look at it with the torch on the camera, but part of me was, I'm almost preparing myself to go along there the night, and a slow puncture is taking effect, and I'm going to be stuck, trying to get the AA out to the motor, or get that boy that comes out and does the tyre repairs for 50 quid at midnight in Govan a couple of days before Christmas, because it gives me something bad to think about. It gives me something negative to think about. I need something negative to think about, or else I'm going to get the bends. This was great tonight. I mean, unlike Borna Barisic, I do apologise for things. I apologise for everything. I've usually got a lot to apologise for. Today, the sharper-eared or the sharper-eyed of you will have noticed in the preview pod for this game on Gersnet, I stupidly said that the Scottish League Cup was the youngest of the three major domestic trophies in Scotland, not competitions. And of course, you know that in it was in 1998 they changed the old the SPL took over from the old Scottish League, so it was a new division going on the top of Scottish football, so they got a new trophy for that, so that's the youngest of the major trophies. Okay, but the one thing I'm not going to get into with anybody, the one bit of trivia I'm just going to pose the question, but I have no hope of even badly guessing the answer. How many folk have played alongside John Lundstram in that sitting two this season? How many folk have sat beside John Lundstram in the two of our 4-2-3-1 formation? That's somebody else coming. That's another injury, no doubt. That'll be Todd Cantwell or somebody going in the back of an ambulance just having fallen down the steps or something like that. Ibrox won't make any difference. But we're going to get to the stage where Bailey Rice will get a game. The entire youth team's going to get a game this season, and we're just going to keep winning, and we're going to get to Dublin because it's been absolutely phenomenal. And tonight it ends up John Lundstram himself didn't even come out for the second half. We've got Dujon Sterling and Kieran Dowell. Yes, Dujon Sterling and Kieran Dowell are our sitting two in midfield for the second half. This is halfway through a game which started with 5 changes, and we're just cruising it. We took a while to get that second goal to put it completely to bed tonight, but it was absolutely routine. I know St Johnstone went down to 10 men in the second half, but Craig Levine had dusted down the old Prague, Scotland tactic of not trying to attack at all and just hoping to spring something in the final 2 minutes of the game if his team were still in it. It was just absolutely fantastic tonight how unspectacular, how just kind of straightforward this win was. There was nothing really to worry about other than maybe injuries. We had Connor Goldson picking up a booking. Todd Cantwell picked up a booking as well towards the end. Maybe they're going to come back to haunt them. I don't know what the suspension situation is. But it was just absolutely fantastic. The 5 changes at the beginning of the game from Sunday's League Cup final. We won that, by the way. James Tavernier got the only goal of the game, which is quite good for the captain, I think. I might have mentioned that. The 5 changes, we had a change in each of the departments outfield in that 4-2-3-1 formation that we're sticking so loyally by. We had Ridvan Yilmaz coming in for Borna Barisic at left back. We had John Suter coming in for Leon Balogun at centre half. We then had Kieran Dowell, the lesser spotted Kieran Dowell, coming in to sit beside John Lundstram in the 2. We had Sam Lammers coming in for Todd Cantwell in the 10. And up front, it was Kamar Roof starting. Now, Ronnie Esplin was just really, really deviously, asking the manager yesterday if Kamar Roof, in the pre-match presser, is Kamar Roof ready to last the whole 90 minutes? And the manager said no. And we all thought that meant there was no way Kamar Roof would start. And he's not Harry Potter, Philip Clement, but he might be Voldemort. Bald and evil, an evil genius. Because on today started Kamar Roof started the game today, but he didn't get anywhere near the 90 minutes. He didn't get near a quarter of an hour. I never even noticed it. It was a lad in front of me just said Roof's just signalled to the bench to come off, and we're talking about 13 minutes into the game, and we'd already had the game stopped for 2 or 3 minutes because John Suter, who'd been dogged with injuries his entire career, it went down within, I think, about 1 minute 30 seconds and took about 2 minutes to get back up. All right, here we go. But that wasn't the worst of it. And I think Kamar Roof then had a shot from outside the box, which he only had because he was holding back. He wasn't trying to get in the box, and the ball get played to him, so he felt duty bound to have a shot. I don't know if that's exacerbated it or anything, but he went down the tunnel in an absolute rage. The man's absolutely gutted, absolutely broken by yet another injury after yet a failed start for Rangers, and I feel heart sorry for the man. And I was talking last week after his winner in Seville about how it was a luxury item that we should always hold on to, and we should always hold on to him. I'm going to walk away from the tractor here that's about to go in through the Bluebell gates to keep that pitch flat so we don't pick up any more of these injuries. But I think we were playing the ball around, playing to the ball. St Johnstone, they were wearing an all white kit with kind of pretensions of Swansea City, kind of circa 1982, maybe even with the cut and the kind of sheen of it, Real Madrid in the European Cup final against Liverpool in 1981 in Paris. But when you got kind of a close-up look at it, this kind of blue and yellow trim to it, it was more like Mansfield Town, Shrewsbury Town away kit, perhaps Batty Borisov in mid-2010s. And Rangers, they were in the blue Guernseys, the white knickerbockers, and the rouge et noir stockings. And while St Johnstone couldn't get even halfway down the catwalk, I think you saw Rangers were this kind of Iberian tint to them, a little sheen of a big egg cup with the 3 handles, a bit of the silver sheen about them tonight. That was the limit. That was the kind of end of the stylishness. It was pretty kind of straightforward football. After that, us keeping St Johnstone pretty much in their own box. I think they touched the ball in our half of the field twice, perhaps in the entire first half, and maybe 3 or 4 times more than that in the second half. But We're plugging away, and there's a patience now about this Rangers team. Obviously, we still have that problem sometimes away from home, that we're starting games too slowly, and we'll test that out again at Fir Park on Saturday. I'm saying Fir Park's always unpredictable. And we do drop points here quite a lot, but is that stat still, as James McFadden scored the winner, the 1-0 game, what was that, 20 years ago, 21 years ago or something? Was that round about, was it December 2002? Because we won the treble that year, so that's something to hang on to if Motherwell trip us up completely on Christmas Eve. But we've got that. We'll test that out on Sunday. And Christmas Eve with the lunchtime kick-off there, see if we've got our heads around that. But at Ibrox, we're starting to display a real patience and a real focus, so that if we're not getting lots of shots on target or whatever, it's not, we're not getting, the players aren't getting down, they're not starting to lose focus, they're maintaining concentration and they're ready to pounce when we do make a breakthrough. I think that was kind of summed up by the first goal, which we've lost Kamar Roof. Dessers comes on to replace Kamar, and it's a ball from James Tavernier from the right hand side. I'm pretty sure that the St Johnstone defender just gets right underneath St Johnstone centre half. It had been pitched at a height that just floated it above a centre half's head, but then dipped down. It was a real undercut to it. It dipped it right down, and the guy just went in the deck, tried to work out where the ball was going to land, and in came Cyril Dessers to basically walk the ball. I think it went through the goalkeeper's legs, perhaps. He slotted it home anyway, quite routinely. All of a sudden, he was just kind of one-on-one with the goalie and just slotting it away, and it looked completely standard. But this year, 2021-2022 Europa League top scorer, putting a cross in for the 2021-2022 Conference League top scorer to score for Rangers. The 2021-2022 Champions League top scorer, and he also played for Real Madrid against Liverpool in Paris in the European Cup final. He's also scored at Ibrox, and maybe he's looking for a wee move. He's made his money these days, but maybe Karim Benzema is looking for a wee move to come in and replace Kamar Roof. If he wants to go places in European football again, we are the place, we are the team to join. Then, what was that, about 29 minutes or something, 25 minutes to the half hour that we got the goal, we got the breakthrough. We then have a St Johnstone player just lunging in, number 13, one of the midfielders, absolutely horrific tackle on John Lundstrom. Sent John Lundstrom spinning through the air, and the referee, for some reason, the reason that I'm thinking that he gave him the yellow card was because he knew VAR would come in and tell him to upgrade it to a red. So he's kind of covering himself, but I mean, you could say maybe the referee was unsighted, but I mean, like the guy who kind of collects the trolleys at the car park in Govan Asda, he saw John Lundstrom spinning up in the area. He must have been above the roof. The height he went to, it was really difficult to know how anybody in the Govan area could have missed John Lundstrom getting fouled brutally by this guy. So I went to a VAR review. I don't know. I know that VAR can rescind red cards. Now, you've seen referees doing that thing. They come out and they take away a red card and they say, "Oh, sorry, mate, I got that wrong," to the player, and the guy carries on. Maybe can it not downgrade it to a yellow? Because I don't see why the ref wouldn't have just, if he was going to hedge his bets, give the guy the red card, and then VAR can step in and say, "No, okay, it's a yellow," or whatever. But it was a red card all day long, and after Cifuentes went off for the last time Rangers were playing at home in the league, it seemed really weird that the ref gave the guy the yellow card to start with. But he went in, and another tackle just after that as well, which was, I think it was a yellow card. And I was kind of half waiting for that to be upgraded to a red. St Johnstone seemed to lose the plot. You've got to wonder if there's a frustration there with the players, at the tactics that Craig Levein was sending them out with tonight. Well, they seemed to be like they weren't allowed to attack, basically. They weren't allowed to go anywhere for the first 80 minutes, it seemed. But yeah, that was them down to 10 men. And we've gone from a situation where the last league game we played here against a team from Tayside and all white. We're down to 10 men, although we're 2 goals up. Then at half time, when you wonder what's going to happen in the second half, you're a bit worried. It's the opposite. We're playing against 10 men at a team from Tayside and all white, and you're feeling a bit confident. But you always know when it's only 1 goal in it, anything can happen. Come into the second half, and I hope it's just a precaution for John Lundstrom being rested. He didn't reappear for the second half, so I hope he's going to be all right. Sima as well, I was kind of surprised to see him starting because the amount of energy and effort he's put in recent weeks. I thought he'd have been somebody to get a rest tonight. Young Ross McCausland playing away, he was plugging away hard tonight, not always getting there, but industry, actually he's really good defensively as well. Ross McCausland, a lot of times teams could be in on us if he wasn't covering. I mean, he'll go right across the midfield and go over the other wing if needs be. He's absolutely fantastic. His work rate is phenomenal, and he kept plugging away and giving us that shape, and we're going forward. But into the second half, people were getting frustrated with Sam Lammers, who was having what looked like a bit of a mare. Again, nothing was coming off for him. He keeps plugging away, but he's just not connecting. He's just not getting the ball to Rangers players, to be quite honest. But we battered away, and then we brought on Todd Cantwell for Lammers. About 70 minutes this was, and who else came on? Scott Wright. He came on for Seema, give Seema a bit of a break. And I don't even know who played the ball through, forgive me. I don't know who put the ball through, but Dessers gets fouled by the goalie. VAR check, but it was a penalty all day long. And up steps James Tavernier, and what I think just confirmed his hero status. You're thinking, this would be just like the thing if it was 85 minutes on the clock, if he was to miss this penalty, because he scores so many, you think he's bound to miss one, and he does miss one every now and then, but you think, if he score this and it's kind of St Johnstone go down the park, they throw everything at it, get a wee equalise on it, he cost us the league. It might won us the League Cup, but he's cost us the league title, and be back to square one with the Tav Boo boys. But he slotted it away. Different one from Tav tonight, did the old jumping up and down in the spot routine, and he comes up as if he's going to blast it into one of the top corners, but he just kind of slides it, a wee crafty slider, a wee White Castle type slider into the bottom left hand corner as he's looking at hooking it across the goalie. Lovely finish, just rolls along the inside of the net into the bottom corner, which was nice to see, because I think Seema had a couple just past the post, and Tav himself a couple of more long range or tight angled efforts hitting the side net on the right hand side. It was getting a bit frustrating, but that was beautiful to see the ball in the back of the net, all 3 points in the bag. St Johnstone had started lumping it forward at that point, hoping to catch us out Aberdeen style or Aris Limassol style with a ball in between our two centre halves, but I think they eventually got a couple of corners, maybe touched the ball twice in our box during the entire game, and that is it. We go rolling on, and I'm scared to say anything. I'm scared to tempt any fate, but we're looking fantastic. We're looking in really good nick, and it's just all about, I hope John Lundstrom's fit. I hope we're going to get some more players back. I hope that the bodies that did get rested tonight are ready to go at Fir Park. But the great thing is the way the manager is rotating this squad. As I say, Dujon Sterling, Kieran Dow, that is we're sitting to in midfield for the entire second half. 3 points in the bag. Rangers on Celtic's back wheel, and it's on to Fir Park with that feeling of proper momentousness. There's a real feeling of we're going places under this manager, and the one place we're going is Motherwell. So we'll talk to you after that one on Christmas Eve. Have a nice week, folks.